signature on June the 15th of 2023. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset for the notice. All right, who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Judge Williams. This is going to be position number 9. Ms.
Good afternoon.
Pronounce your last name? Vasquez. Ms. Vasquez.
All right, Mr. Vasquez, your case is 23 CR 003519C. You're charged with willful obstruction in this case. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have her history?
So 10th arrest. Last arrest was 2021 hit and run. She got an open simple battery family violence in state court, open DUI. 2020 trespass DV conviction, 2020 simple battery, possession of drug-related objects, and possession of marijuana. That's
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Jones, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident took place on April 4th of 2023 at 5805 State Bridge Road. And officers observed a silver 2014 Nissan parked in front of a Sharon Williams. Officer made contact with the two occupants. The driver, who the state is concerned of an intimidation of witness, will eventually become a witness, Your Honor, told officers that they were about to go for a run. However, did not have on running shoes, had on slides. It is unknown what the two were doing in the parking lot so late, around 2 a.m. because all of the businesses were closed. When the officer went back to run the defendant's name, the defendant fled the scene and ran off into the woods, putting the entire community at danger. Again, Your Honor, this occurred at 2 a.m. I did note that the defendant has an FTA from 2020, and the defendant had a hit and run duty to stop or return to the scene of the accident, which shows that the defendant has a history of evading arrest. Therefore, the state makes a recommendation for a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the potential witness named Kendall Reed, and a stay away from the 5805 State Bridge Road.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Vasquez, she is only 23 years old, and she has a hold actually at Sandy Spring, but it's only because there was a traffic ticket. She couldn't take care of it well. So even though there's kind of like, it sounds like she has a lot of criminal history, it's not really violent or anything dangerous at all. And I would like to request for a signature on bond for this particular one, willful obstruction of law enforcement officer. She was scared, and at that time, there was no intent to have any public danger that was going to be caused by these two young men and women. Her boyfriend and she were having a good time in a car, and they were dating. I don't know what they were doing. However, they had nothing to do with harming anybody else. So we would like to request for signature on bond for this charge and let her be transported to Sandy Springs so she can take care of that traffic ticket, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. At this time, Ms. Vasquez will receive a $1,000 surety bond. She's to have no contact with potential witness, last name Reed, and stay away from that incident location. Additionally, she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor, from the defense.
All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Thank you. Position number 14, Ms. Pitts, and she has a private attorney.
All right.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Daniel Golston here from Ms. Pitts.
All right, thank you. Ms. Pitts, your case is 23 CR 003530E. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of March the 4th of this year. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
Second arrest. Last arrest was on May 27th out of Houston County for battery DV, 2 counts. No, battery DV and 2 counts of obstruction. So that's
okay.
That's
okay,
it.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident took place on March the 4th of 2023. Your Honor, we believe that there's a high intimidation of witness. The victim here is the defendant, is the husband of the defendant. Given the nature of the relationship, the state is concerned for the risk of intimidation. The victim did speak with our advocate and advised that he will not participate in the prosecution process. However, he did confirm the facts of the warrant, which is that the defendant punched him in the face, causing lacerations, and then fled the scene. The victim also stated that this is never, well, at this time, this has never happened before, but the state has become aware of a subsequent charge that 5/27/20, that May 27th of 23, which is out of Houston County, is with the same victim as well. So the state is concerned that the defendant is not able to keep her hands to herself and has some anger concerns. Therefore, the state is going to request a $5,000 surety bond to stay away from 866 West Peachtree Street, which is the motel location, the Renaissance Atlanta, which is where it took place. And also a stay away from 4027 Round Top Circle, which is in Perry, Georgia, 31069. No further contact with the victim, Mr. Perry, and at the appropriate time, if the court could sound for him to see if he's on the line.
All right, is Mr. Perry present?
I'm sorry, Mr. Pitts. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Well, Mr. Pitts, are you present? If you wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so.
He should be on the call, Your Honor. I think I saw him earlier.
I don't see him now. What's his first name?
It's Joshua Pitts.
Joshua Pitts.
Is it the one that says Josh? Sir, if you're listening, is that you? Oh, we can't wait all day. Please figure this out.
I'm here.
All right.
Sorry.
Would you like to make a statement?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
no-
before you start speaking, please raise your right hand.
Sorry.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. I'm not sentencing your wife today. So the facts of this, as alleged by the state, are not critically important. I know that you may contest some of what they said or wish to add or elaborate, but that's not really the purpose of your statement. What I really want to hear from you is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant and whether you have any fear or concerns. But in light of what I'm most interested in, what would you like to tell me at this time?
I absolutely have no concerns of my wife being in my presence. She is in no threat and no one is in any danger of her whatsoever.
Okay.
This was a rare moment out of character, and I can promise you that myself, her family, and her friends would share the same thoughts.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Holston, please proceed.
Yes, Ms. Pitts and Mr. Pitts are married. They have 2 children together. She's gainfully employed. They're actually in business together. She has no criminal history other than there are 2 pending arrests. She has significant ties to Georgia. We would ask if there is a no contact provision that it be no violent contact and that a reasonable bond be set, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. At this time, defendant will receive a $5,000 surety bond. She's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim in this case and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. All right. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you both. Anything from the
thank
state? I'm sorry, anything from the state?
Your Honor, we just wanted to go back to the stayaways from the 866 West Peachtree Street.
I said no further violent contact.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you both.
All right,
And
thank you.
Mr. Holston, if that concludes your business, you can be excused.
It does, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Have a good afternoon. All right. Who do we have next?
Position number 13, Mr. Lee. He said he has a private attorney.
Your Honor, good
Okay.
afternoon. Sadir Sabak on behalf of Mr. Lee.
All right. Mr. Lee, your case is 23 CR 003529A. I'm not going to sound the charge. The state may, however. The offense date of this case is August the 23rd of 2022. Do you understand your rights today?
He does, Your Honor.
All right. Just need him to say a quick yes. You understand your rights?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, Mr. Howard.
Oh, hold on. Oh, this is Lee. Second arrest. Last arrest was in 1988 for shoplifting.
Okay, that's All right.
So, Your Honor,
I
due to
think-
the nature of this case, can we address this last? The state definitely wants to give a recitation of the facts and place it on a record. So we're just wondering if we can address this last.
Ready to move forward, Judge.
I know, I'm.
He's entitled to a
this is
bond, so.
very- No, he's gonna get a bond, but what the state is asking, because of the nature of charge, if he can be placed last on the calendar. Unfortunately, the state is taking a position that breakouts are inappropriate for charges similar to this. So I guess I will accept the state's recommendation. Can we go to another position? I'm sorry, Mrs. Sabak, you'll have to hold. All right.
Yes, Judge. If we can do position number 4, Mr. Davis, he waived his appearance, but we do have a family member here in the gallery. So if we can please do his case.
But that's gonna be the same problem. So we need to take that one at the end.
I'll stand by, Judge. Thank you.
Can we take another position, please? That has to be at the end of the calendar.
Position number 8, Mr. Hill.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Hill, your case is 23 CR 003531G. In this case, you're charged with loitering and prowling and theft of mislaid property with the offense date of June the 1st. Do you understand your rights? Just nod if you do. All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
62 total. Last arrest was in January. Theft by receiving, giving false name. On probation in Athens, Clark County. Criminal attempt to commit a felony. Let's see. 2021, 2022 probation. 2021 trespass conviction. 2019 giving false name conviction. 2018 probation. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred June 1st, 2023 at the Pond Springs Lofts. They are located at 620 Glen Iris Drive, northeastern Atlanta. Law enforcement responded to this location and met with staff who advised that there was a subject observed on video checking cars and bicycles on the 3rd floor of the parking deck at this location. The subject was found in possession of a checkbook that was stolen from a vehicle, and incident number CR 230401881. They did speak with the owner of that property to confirm it was stolen. There's already a preset $10,000 surety bond. We're requesting additionally a stay away and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. We do understand that bond is high, so we defer to the court. The state would ask that the bonds remain at least $3,000 surety.
Question, how is it currently broken down? Since the two charges, is it 5,000 each?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Hill is a native of Georgia. He is currently unemployed and he is residentially challenged at this time. I have sent an email to our social worker division for them to visit with him and speak with him about housing resources. Again, yes, this bond is very high. He is unable to make the bond. I would request a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that the bond not exceed $2,000.
All right. Defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He is to stay away from the address on Glen Iris and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Additionally, let's add the BHET to make sure the social worker is able to meet with him. All right, Mr. Hill, that concludes your hearing. Best of luck to you at this time.
Position 1, position 7, Mr. Herbert.
All right, Mr. Herbert, your case is 23 CR 003527C. In this case, you're charged with battery against the female who is pregnant and a second count of battery with the offense date of June the 1st. You understand your rights?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Howard?
11 total. Last arrest was 2021 trespass. He was arrested twice in 2019, probation. 2012 possession of marijuana, trespass, NOLO. 2013 larceny conviction. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Young?
I'm on mute. Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 1st, 2023 at the 10 Park Plaza in Alpharetta, Georgia. This is the Alpharetta branch of the Fulton County Library. The two victims are employees at this location, Brianna Botsford and, I know I'm gonna mispronounce this, Rishi Jello. I'm gonna spell first and last name. First name is Rishi, last name Jaillaall. Law enforcement responded to this location in reference to a fight reported. The victim told officers that. So the law officer made contact with the second victim, Mr. Jello, and noticed that he had blood on him. He told officers that he witnessed the defendant strike the other victim, Ms. Botsford. And when he told him to leave her alone, the defendant struck him, causing a knot. They spoke with victim Botsford, and she stated that the defendant came out looking for his backpack, came up to her, struck her in the face, causing a laceration to her lip. She is 12 weeks pregnant, and he also pushed her, which caused her to fall back against the wall. Our office had contact. They both wished a stay away and no further contact. They said that he creates a problem at the library frequently. In this particular situation, he kept leaving his bag unattended during an event, so they had to keep moving it, and that's what he became upset about. So the state is asking for we're asking for a $6,000 surety bond, a stay away, no further contact with both victims, 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We would ask the court to sound for the victims. I do see one on the line.
Okay. All right. I see both victims, I believe. Ms. Boxford, if you'd like to make a statement, you're not required to, but if you would like to, this is your opportunity. I would just need you to turn on your camera. All right, I'm hearing none. Mr. Jalal, I see you also on the line. If you'd like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. You're not required to, however. All right, hearing and seeing none. Is this case, who represents this defendant? Ms. Wills?
Miss Kim, no, Miss Kim does. I was trying to reach out to her.
I'm right here, Your Honor.
Okay, you ready to proceed, Ms. Kim?
Would you please give me the last name one, please?
For position 7, Mr. Herbert.
Yes, I'm ready. Mr. Hubbard is 29 years old, and Your Honor, he has been qualified for public defender services because of his financial difficulties and challenges. Your Honor, he has a seasonal job. However, it's not making enough money for him to pay for his housing. So at this time, we are actually requesting social worker services to be provided for him so he can have a housing resources. And he graduated from high school at Chattahoochee, and then he's been here in Georgia for about 10 plus years. We would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this
Yeah,
time,
no
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to, in regards to the stay away, I'm unsure if there's any other stay away per Fulton County Library. I don't know if it's a ban for all locations or would it be just this location? So I just wanted to bring that to the court's attention, just in case there are other stayaways.
Okay. I don't know if you get banned permanently from the library. I've not heard that one yet. So, all right. So what we'll do is the defendant is going to receive a $5,000 surety bond, $2,500 on each count. He is to stay away from the that particular library branch. I will not exclude him from the other library branches unless there is some restriction imposed by Fulton County Library itself. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Herbert, best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
Position number 1. Come here, ma'am. Miss How do you pronounce your last name? Archelius.
Ms. Archuleta, your case is 23CR 003515F. In this case, you're charged with battery, family violence. Do you understand your rights? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, last was 2021, driving without a valid license, obstruction. That appears to be open. 2009 ag battery dismissed, '06 fraudulent use of credit card conviction. I didn't see any violent convictions.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 1st, 2023 at 3016 Elite Lane in Alpharetta. The victim in this case is the victim's, the defendant's daughter, Unique, I'm gonna spell the last name, DESAUGUSTE. Our office has not had any contact, but anyway, law enforcement responded to that location in reference to a 911 hangup. Upon arrival, they made contact with the defendant. They advised nothing was going on. However, they did notice the victim standing behind the defendant raise her hand. She told law enforcement officers that the defendant struck her in the face with a belt buckle for ordering DoorDash, which caused some bruising. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away, no further contact, 1-day anger awareness. And also the victim is 17 years old.
Okay. Is the victim present on the line? Okay. All right. Ms. Kim, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 38 years old. She's a single mother with 2 minor children that she is fully responsible. She does not even get that much child support. Your Honor, she is a US citizen and she has been working really hard at Amazon warehouse to support her 2 daughters who are minors. And my client denies the allegation, Your Honor, that even though it may have happened, it could have been accidental. However, it was more like her parental authority to basically discipline her children from acting out loud. But still, she has not hit the child with a belt. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond since 15 years old and 17 years old, they are home all by themselves right now. I think it will be safer for my client to return home to take care of them. And stay away is unreasonable as the victim is still minor. And she also has to take care of another minor child. We would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you.
All right, that I would like you to speak further. There's no other adult living in the defendant's home, Ms. Kim. If your understanding is her and the 2 girls.
I believe so. I would like to confirm with my client one more time.
Right, if you would.
Is it the way I understood, right? Do we have another adult supervising your daughters right now?
I'm not sure. She went downstairs to someone, but that's not somebody I know.
All right. All right. I don't love the idea of allowing her to return with the victim, but if they're both minors, they really cannot remain alone. I'm sure that there'll be other investigations conducted by child services, perhaps. All right, so as part of this, what we will do, defendant is going to receive a $3,000 surety bond. She's to have no further violent contact with the victim, and she is to have no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Additionally, she must cooperate with whatever investigations may take place as part of the result of this incident. All right.
Your Honor, my client has nobody to bail her out. So if she gets $3,000 surety bond, that means that she has to be in jail for the next 2 weeks until SAP calendar.
Okay. Mr. Howard, give me the history one more time. When was the last violence?
We still on number 1?
Yes.
Oh,
Don't
2000.
make me feel bad about it, all right? Okay.
2009 ag battery dismissed.
2009. All right.
Yeah, none of the violent arrests were convicted.
Okay. All right. Against my better feeling, but I do understand the situation. Defendant is going to receive a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial services. She has to take the 1-day anger awareness course, have no further violent contact with the victim, and cooperate with all aspects of the DFACS investigations. Is there anything further?
Nothing further. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, ma'am. All right. Who do we have next?
Positions 2 and 3, Davis.
All right, Mr. Davis, your case is 23. You have two cases. 23 CR 0053514Y and 23 CR 0035116Y. In the first case, you're charged with battery DV and obstruction. And the second case, you're charged with giving false information, 2 counts of obstruction and loitering and prowling. You understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
23 total. Last arrest was in July. Financial transaction card fraud, financial transaction card theft and theft by taking. 2021 failure to appear, probation. 2021 trespass conviction, simple battery, no low. 2019 and 2020 probation. 2019 obstruction conviction. 2017 obstruction conviction. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Young.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm gonna start with the position.
We can take them one at a time since they're very different. So let's do position 2, allow Miss Kim and any victim, I'm sorry, Miss Wills and any victim to speak, and then we'll go to position 3.
So in this case, on February 1st, 2023, at 412 Southwest Broad Street in Fairborn, the defendant and the victim are exes who formerly lived together. This day, the defendant allegedly pulled the victim's hair, slapped her across the face, which caused a faint red mark. The defendant was instructed by officers not to leave the scene. However, he left anyhow. We have had some contact with the victim. I believe she's unable to attend the Zoom. However, we still ask the court to sign for her as people tend to still show up. She advised the defendant also broke windows and windshields after this incident, and he also attacked her friend recently, strangling her with a cord. She does fear the defendant and she wishes to have no further contact. The state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, $3,000 on the first and $1,000 on the other, no further contact with the victim, a stay away, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1-day anger awareness.
And the victim's name?
The victim is Brittany Bellew. The spelling for the last name is Belleyu.
Is Miss Bellew on the line? And wishes to make a statement? All right, hearing, seeing none. Miss Wills, please proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Davis is 24 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently unemployed. He states that the alleged victim is his ex-girlfriend. He does deny the allegations as alleged and was also unaware that there was a warrant for his arrest from this February date. My client reports that there was a verbal disagreement between him and Miss Bellew, or I'm not sure what the pronunciation of that is, and that she was upset when he left her home, and that's why she called the police to get back at him. Furthermore, there was no information or evidence mentioned in the warrant in regards to any property damage. He has not been charged with that, which I believe calls into question the actual battery charge also. So I would request a signature on bond. And Mr. Davis does report that he has a hold out of another county. So I would ask for a signature on bond and that he be allowed to be released to the holding county.
All right, defendant's going to receive a $2,000, surety bond for this, $1,500, count 1, $500, count 2. He's to have no contact with the victim and stay away from that incident location, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. All right, so let's go straight into position 3, Mr. Young.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred May 22nd of 2023 at Holly Hill Memorial Park. This is 359 Southwest Broad Street in Fairborn, also Highway 29. On this day, law enforcement observed a vehicle pull into this location after midnight, during which the cemetery is closed. They made contact with the driver, who is the victim in the other case, who told officers that she was picking up her friend and now passenger, the defendant, from this location. When officers asked the defendant for his name and date of birth, he provided the name Chase Henson, which is not his name. When asked to step out the vehicle, the defendant fled from both officers, but was subsequently caught. The state's recommendation in this case is a $3,500 surety bond. That's $1,000 for the failure to obey law enforcement officer, and on each obstruction, and then $500 surety for the loitering and prowling. Stay away from that location.
All right, Ms. Wells.
Mr. Davis tells me that he was not loitering in the cemetery, that he was actually walking through the cemetery as he was headed to a location where he was going to be picked up by his bride. I would ask that he be given a bond of no more than $1,000. It is unusual that he was given 2 separate obstruction charges because there were 2 different officers on the scene. I would ask the court to take that into consideration. Other than my client simply being in a cemetery, which it doesn't say whether or not it was private or public property, there is no other evidence to suggest that my client was loitering, prowling, or doing anything that he shouldn't have been doing in a cemetery other than walking through it. And so again, for those reasons, I would request a bond not to exceed $1,000.
So at this time, defendant is gonna receive a $4,000 SOB through the jail, $1,000 on each count, and he's to stay away absolutely from that location. Is there anything further?
Yes, I got a question. I can answer the question.
I don't think you should. You don't
All
want
right.
to interfere with your right to remain silent. Is it about the bond?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is about the bond. I was just
Okay.
wondering about on the first set of charges. All right, so I think I heard.
Hold on. I feel like you're about to say something to mess yourself up. Remember, the best person to ask is Miss Wells.
All
What
right,
is your question?
I don't have one.
Okay, I'm just concerned, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
All right, well, don't want to infringe upon your rights, Mr. Davis. All right,
Okay, you're done.
So who am I get to talk to? Ms. Willis then?
all right. Can we go to the next position?
Who
please?
passed up?
Position 10, Mr. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Jackson, your case is 23 CR 003520F. You're charged with simple battery and reckless conduct back in November of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hart, can I have his history, please?
Yeah, 18 total. Last arrest was last month, probation. He got open case in Dunwoody for shoplifting. Fulton County battery DV. What else? On probation and card for obstruction and felony obstruction. And shoplifting, removal or attempt to remove a weapon from public official. 2022 terrorist threats, harassment phone calls. 2021 probation violation. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred on November 4th of 2022 when officers responded to 1475 MECASLIN Street, and officers spoke with Mr. Carl Moreland, who at the time was the defendant's boyfriend, in which Mr. Moreland informed officers that he and the defendant were in a verbal altercation. Mr. Moreland attempted to flee from the defendant. However, the defendant followed him to our victim, Miss Margaret Jones, and that's spelled MARGARET Jones. So the defendant followed him, still outright. The defendant confronted the both of them as they were sitting on Miss Jones's porch. The defendant yelled out, "I will spit on you," and then he proceeded to spray Mr. Moreland and Miss Jones with mace. and fled the scene. Your Honor, we are extremely concerned, for the intimidation of the witness. We did speak with the victim through our advocate, and the victim advocate did say that she resides at this location where it took place, and she's actually seen him there, but she does not believe that he physically stays there. Also, one of the potential witnesses will be Mr. Carl Moreland, and I'm not for sure if Your Honor was on yesterday, but this is the same. He was here from yesterday for another case involving Mr. Moreland. That's 23 CR 003495F, in which he was given $1,000 bond on that instance. As the court is aware, this instance took place in November, and now we are in June, approximately 7 months. The defendant fled the scene. The court heard about his violations. So therefore, we are going to request a $7,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Miss Margaret Jones, stay away from the 1475 McCaslin, I think that's how you pronounce it, street, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Mr. Moreland would not be an alleged victim as well?
Mr. Moreland is not cooperating and is not on the warrant. Ms. Jones stated that she wanted to press charges. So it is the state's contention. If the court believes that Mr. Moreland should be a victim as well, yes, he will still be a victim. Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to clarify. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry. And also, no further contact.
So
Yep.
he's not cooperating, however, he is still an alleged victim as it pertains to this case.
Yes,
All
Your
right, understood. And I'm assuming, I see Ms. Jones, but I'm assuming he's not on here since he's not cooperating. Okay, I'm gonna go to Ms. Wills first, and then we'll hear from Ms. Jones. Ms. Wills, please proceed.
Thank you, Judge. My client is 25 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently unemployed after suffering a spinal injury last year that has required a lot of treatment. My client denies that the allegations as alleged. He states he had no intent to harm Ms. Jones, that he does not know Ms. Jones personally, that she is someone who's related to or knows Mr. Moreland. My client was given a $1,000 surety bond yesterday, and that case actually was subsequent to this case. So I would request a bond not to exceed $1,000, but my client states that he is unable to make the $1,000 bond that he currently has, so I would request a signature on bond. He also states that he has some medical issues. He has some stitches that are in his head currently that he has been trying to get receive treatment for, and has been unable to receive treatment for those conditions, as well as, and he has been incarcerated since May 5th. So thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Jones, please unmute your camera, turn on your right hand, raise your right hand. All right, do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, this is a bond hearing. So pretty much what happens today is I don't impose any sentences on the defendant. We're just determining whether or not he, the amount of his bond, and as a misdemeanor offense in the state of Georgia, he is entitled to a bond. Primarily when we allow victims to speak, what we are most concerned with is whether they wish to have contact, but I'm sure that you don't, as you don't have any type of relationship, unless you'd like to clarify that. However, what in light of those instructions, what would you like to tell me, Ms. Jones?
I would just like to say, yes, I would like no contact, and I'm still scared for myself for what he did. And it wasn't just mace. It was actually an entire large can of bear mace. And he came from behind me with a porch screen down, and he said, "I'm getting you too, and name me," and released the whole can. And I've seen him around. It's uneasy. I don't know. I'm petrified from life. I am 100% scared. After the incident happened, I had to go back home out of state because I had nobody protecting me. I didn't do anything to him. I mean, I have Like, and I know for a fact he has assaulted 2 other people since that one incident.
Your Honor, I would object. I would object.
All right, Ms. Jones, is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
I think he needs a higher bond because literally I'm scared for my life. I 100% am. And the entire incident is caught on the video camera in front of me. So like my apartment tried to protect everybody. Like there's nothing else. I mean.
All right, Ms. Jones, I thank you for coming to court and making that statement, all right?
And Your Honor, I would like it noted that in the warrant, she is the only victim that is listed for both the reckless conduct and the simple battery. Mr. Moreland is mentioned in the body of the warrant, but he is not listed as the victim.
Okay. All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each count. He is to have absolutely no contact whatsoever with Ms. Jones. He must stay 1,000 yards away from her location, wherever she resides, including the incident location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. And as a reminder, he will be reset to the state all-purpose calendar on June the 15th. All right, is there anything further?
My client has his hands up. Mr. Jackson, unless you have a specific question about your bond, I do not recommend that you say anything on the record.
All right, Mr. Jackson, okay. Best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
Position 11, Lester.
All right, Mr. Lester, your case is 23 CR 003521B. You're charged with theft by taking. Do you understand your rights today?
Oh, yes.
All right. Let's see.
First arrest, it was SOB jail recommendation.
Okay.
This is D Lester, right? Number
Yeah.
11? All right, yeah.
Lester
Right.
Harris, position 12.
Oh, this is 12.
Yes.
Oh, 12?
Okay. So
Yeah,
12.
Lester Harris?
Yeah, position 12. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Harris, I'm sorry, your case is 23 CR 003528G. In this case, you're charged with 7 counts of theft by receiving and 1 count of criminal trespass. You understand your rights?
No. Okay, yeah, that was not the right Lester. That
Yes.
that is Lester Harris. Yes.
Now we're on Lester Harris.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
Lester Harris. It was just the wrong body.
Do you
Lester
understand?
Harris, position 12.
Did you hear your right? Do you understand your rights? And did you all right, let's just do it again. Mr. Lester Harris, your case is 23 CR 003528G. You're charged with 7 counts of theft by receiving and 1 count of criminal trespass. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. Mr. Howard, please get on my dance.
All right, first arrest, resident of North Carolina.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So on June 1st of 2023, officers were dispatched to an armed person at 2450 Camilla Lane. And that is going to be the EON Lindbergh Apartments. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the caller, Mr. Alan Morton, who is the service manager. He escorted officers upstairs to the unit that the defendant was occupying without having his name on the lease or staying there. He wasn't supposed to be there. Officers knocked and heard movement. Eventually, the defendant exited the apartment wearing a fanny pack that had many different debit cards. There were actually 7 different debit cards and 1 Georgia ID. He advised officers that he received the ID and the debit card from a female friend who stole them from a vehicle break-in. And that he also advised officers that he knew that this apartment was empty and vacant because his ex-friend had previously stayed in this one as well. Therefore, the state's bond recommendation is going to be to keep the bond as is, which is an $8,000 surety bond. That's $1,000 on each count to stay away from the 2450 Camilla Lane Northeast.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wills?
Thank you, Judge. My client is 24 years old. He is currently residentially challenged. I have requested that our social services speak with him about housing resources. He is interested in learning more about that. My client is going through a tough time personally, unfortunately, which has led him to this position. This is his first arrest, so I would ask that the court grant a signature bond for him.
At this time, defendant will receive an $8,000 split bond. He needs to make surety on count 1. The remainder will be 7,000 SOB through the jail. So 1,000 SOB for each of the remaining theft by receiving. Additionally, he needs to stay away from the 2450 Camilla Lane address. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. All right, who do we have next?
Position 11, Demond Lester.
All right, Mr. Lester, do you understand your rights? I think we've read your case number.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Jones, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So on June 1st of 2023, around 2:30 p.m., officers responded to a request for police at the Lenox Mall Operation Intelligence Center. It is where that they observed the defendant removing trash from the designated area. The defendant was observed removing items from the trash bin and placing them on the ground near a security booth. Near a security booth at the entrance, security personnel recovered the shoes, which was the items that the defendant was seen removing, which were Steve Madden's, and which was 4 pairs of shoes, Steve Madden's, inside of a Michael Kors bag. Officers then made contact with the stock manager, Miss Trinity Williams, who stated that those shoes were from a recent shipment that was not placed inside of the storage room. So they were left in the hallway, which is where the defendant had the sole responsibility to remove trash from the work site. Given that this defendant does not have a history, the state's recommendation is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, a stay away from Lenox Mall, 3393 P Street Road, and no further contact with Miss Trinity Williams, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond.
All right, I'm inclined to grant the signature bond. Ms. Willis, any objection?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through the jail. He'd stay away from Lenox Mall in its entirety, and he is to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Anything further? All right, best of luck to you, sir.
Position 15, Spells.
All right, Mr. Spells, your case is 23 CR 003533F. You're charged with loitering and prowling, giving false information, and theft of mislaid property with the offense date of May the 31st. You understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have you, please?
I got 53 total. Last arrest was in April, theft by receiving. On probation for that out of state court. On probation for criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. Removal or attempted removal of a weapon from public official. 21 SC 179215. Couple of FTAs from 2022. Disorderly conduct conviction 2021.
Okay, that's good. Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor. Officers were dispatched to a suspicious person called at 2135 Piedmont Road, which is a Goodwill. And the caller gave the description of a black male wearing gray jeans, a white shirt, and a hat, looking inside of vehicles in the parking lot. Upon arrival, the officer immediately noticed the black male matching the description. Officers approached the man and asked what he was doing on the property. The defendant stated he was walking through from the back. Continuing to investigate, officers asked for his name, in which the defendant replied, Rashid Reed, and that's RASHEA, Reed, with the date of birth of 8/10/1975. Officers also found a brown Coach wallet in which the defendant stated he found it on the ground. A witness that has asked not to be identified and the encountered the man, encountered the defendant when he came up to his window, and the witness asked the man, "What are you on?" In which the defendant replied, "I was not doing anything," and walked off. This man was later identified as the as the defendant through fingerprints as Mr. Raquel Spells, and had an active warrant for a felony charge out of Fulton County search. Therefore, the state's recommendation is going to be for a $5,000 surety bond, stay away from 2135 Piedmont Road.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Spells is actually from North Carolina. He has been here about a year, and Your Honor, he is actually in drug court for that felony charge. So maybe the whole thing's, I was hoping the whole things would be compiled together. However, he is here for this separate charge. He's residentially challenged at this point, and he has not been able to have any employment for about a year after he graduated from high school. He's had odd jobs. And right now he was here for his mother. However, his parents passed away and he's still here. He's trying to build his life together. However, it has been very challenging financially. We would like to request for a signature on bond since he also has a bigger fish to fry at drug court for the felony charges. That's what if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $2,000 good bond.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $2,000 good bond, $1,000 on the loitering and prowling, and $500 on each subsequent count. And he's to stay away from the address on Piedmont Road, have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Spell. What do we have next?
Position 16, Wilson.
All right, Mr. Wilson, your case is 23 CR 003534Y. You're charged with 3 counts of obstruction. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Howard?
26 total. He was arrested in 2012 for drugs not in original container and one of those vice charges. That was conviction. 2012 obstruction. I stopped there.
Okay. All of them predate 2012?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place on June 1st of 2023. Officers attempted to execute a search warrant at 679 South Elizabeth Ave for a Marlon Johnson. Officers knocked and no one answered. Moments later, officers observed a Black male walk across the right side of the room. They called for additional units, and after several attempts, the door was finally breached by 3 deputies, Deputy T. Williams, Deputy Reinhardt, and Deputy A. Leitner, which is why the 3 counts are there, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for a bond is going to be a $1,500 surety bond, which is $500 per count, and a stay away from 679 South Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Wilson, is also residentially challenged at this point, Your Honor. Ever since November 2021, he has been he was incarcerated for about 16 months. And then about 3 months, he just got released from the jail and he did not have an employment yet. And he was residentially challenged, and he was just being there at a wrong time, wrong place. He just wanted to get away from the cold or the bad weather. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond. Right now, there's a $1,000 good bond for whole thing, so I don't think it should be increased to $1,500 good bond. We would like to request for signature on bond. He was not Marlon Wilson that they were looking for. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive a $6,000 SOB through the jail, and he's to stay away from that. It was a state requesting a stay away?
Yes, Your Honor, from the 679 South Elizabeth.
And stay away from that 679 South Elizabeth, have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Wilson.
I'm sorry, Judge, can you please repeat the bond amount?
6,000.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I just have one brief request for Mr. Michael Hubbard that I I was having a hard time to get back to the online, and I kind of noted that there is actually $2,000 good bond for two charges, total of $4,000 good bond right now that was already ordered. And then Your Honor gave him $5,000. It was increased from 4,000 to 5,000. I was wondering if we could just keep it at 4,000. I
It
feel
will-
like it was because I couldn't.
It'll
get
be at the 5, Ms. Kim, but I appreciate your advocacy. All
Thank
right,
you.
who do we have next?
And the bond was SOB jail, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, position 13, Mr. Lee.
Okay. Are we back? This is back to the ones that, is the courtroom clear?
Yes, everybody cleared out, Judge.
Okay.